1% of the West Bank, plus an additional 1% in land swaps, and they rejected that. You also talked about settlements being in contravention of international law. At least one country, the United States, does not hold to that view, so that is not a unanimous view. And also, if you look at Article 49.6 of the Geneva Convention, as I think you yourself noted, it talks about forced transfer of population into occupied territories. I mean, none of the people who've moved into the disputed territories have actually been forced to go there. So there's no international court which has said that the settlements are in contravention of international law. Finally, on the United Nations, you have the slide of the empty chairs. Again, it's an incomplete view, and indeed I would argue a misleading view. One only has to think back 3 or 4 weeks, and the fact is that Israel has the chairmanship of the General Assembly, and as we watched Netanyahu's fantastic speech in the United Nations, it was chaired by Ron Prosor, who was in fact the ambassador in London. So Israel is very, very much part of the family of nations. Thank you.
Yes, no, there are quite a few questions there.
The question is, can you comment?
Can I comment? Yes, of course.
On what I've said.
No, of course, that's my intent. So, Christian, you'll help me if I miss it.
I think it's fair to say.
I'm not in a position to comment on things that I don't know. I haven't been to Camp David. No one asked me to come, so I don't know what was negotiated there. Were you there? I'm not sure.
Look at Dennis Ross's book.
I don't know.
It's documented in Dennis Ross's book. Who was
fine. I'm not trying to be dismissive of your comment. What I'm saying is there are different accounts.
The book is called The Missing Piece.
No, I know the book. I'm saying there are different accounts of these negotiations. I have no idea. Yeah, I know. I realize that. But I have no idea of ascertaining. You're asking me if I'm not Dennis Ross. You're asking me. I wasn't there. I don't know what was on the table. What was a genuine offer? What wasn't a genuine offer? I don't know. I know what's on the ground. On the ground, the Palestinian Authority has nominal control of 38% of the West Bank. That's the reality on the ground. Regardless of what was offered, what was denied, I have no idea.
91%.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I simply don't know. Again, there's a question on. Sorry.
That's General Offer 1, not 2. Legality of settlements.
Right. So
U.S.
You've
allegedly.
ascertained that no international court has said that they are in defiance of international law, except the most authoritative body on this matter was the International Court of Justice.
But that's a creature of the United Nations. That's not a genuine court.
It's not a genuine court. Okay, fine. It is what it is. And by the way, I'm not an advocate for the UN system. And I will be the first to agree with you, it's a radically flawed system. Nevertheless, the International Court of Justice, which is the UN's most authoritative body, is the highest judicial body, has clearly stipulated, stated in its advisory opinion, we can talk about advisory opinion if you're interested afterwards, that they are in fact in defiance of international law. And that goes into the debate of forcible transfer, what's illicit transfer. Again, I'm happy to discuss what's with you, because it goes into great technical details. But it has been asserted by a court, regardless of the fact that you accept or deny its jurisdiction or authority, it exists. And then you said, of course, the U.S. doesn't recognize that. You're right. You're absolutely right in that statement. The U.S. qualifies the occupied Palestinian territory as disputed territory, but you're wrong in saying it's the only state to do that. There's Israel as well, and there are two others. Not to belittle them, they're the Marshall Islands and Micronesia. And they all hold that these are not occupied territories, they're disputed territories. The rest of the family of mankind, of humankind, argues differently. Was there anything?
There was a point which there was an allegation that you were misleading about Israel not being part of the family of nations.
No, I'm saying, no, I said the very opposite. I think Israel is very much invested in being a member in good standing with the UN. Why do you think they go through all this trouble putting this legal strategy appearing before these bodies, with the exception of withdrawing from the Human Rights Council?
So why did you show 3 empty chairs?
No, I show empty chairs because I referred to withdrawing from the Human Rights Council. That, again, wasn't me. That's the foreign minister.
Look who's on it.
No, that's the foreign minister of Israel that has
announced. Look who's on the Human Rights Council.
Yes, no,
Iraq?
This is the foreign...
Chair was Iraq.
No, again, let me say very clearly, I am not an advocate for the UN system. I agree with you that it is flawed. Not only is it flawed, it's radically flawed. It should be question is, but what I'm saying is, it's not me, it's the Israeli foreign minister, which I'm certainly not, has withdrawn from cooperating with the good offices of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights and the Human Rights Council. That is a decision taken by an Israeli elected official. It wasn't my decision. Whether or not, again, does Netanyahu appear before the UN General Assembly? Of course he did. I was actually in the room when he did. Whether or not it was would you say, brilliant speech? I don't know.
The point, it was chaired by an Israeli.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, again, Israel is very much interested in being a good member in good standing with the UN. Does not like to be expelled from the UN. But then, of course, you have to remain cognizant of the fact that if you're a member in good standing, you abide by the Charter. And if you do not abide by the Charter, you run the risk of being expelled from membership. By the way, it has no precedent. It's never happened, any state. But you certainly run the risk, theoretically.
Okay, good.